Hey everyone, Chad here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to publish a paperback on Kindle Direct Publishing. I have other videos about publishing ebooks on KDP. Also, I did a video a couple of years ago about how to publish a paperback on CreateSpace. CreateSpace is now gone, and I'll talk more about that in a second. I also have a video which I'll link to in the description section on how to publish an audiobook on ACX, which is also owned by Amazon. I've published many books, ebooks, and paperbacks on KDP, and I can tell you that paperbacks are slightly more finicky with respect to formatting and layout. If you're not familiar with formatting or you don't know how to format your paper book, you can hire a freelancer on a marketplace like Fiverr or Upwork, and that individual will format your book for you. You can usually hire a freelancer for $10, $20, $30, even $40. It will really depend on how long your book is in terms of page count. The freelancer will format your book to adhere to Amazon standards, and then you'll be good to go. Likewise, if you need help with your cover design, you can hire a freelancer. The one thing I would caution is as you hire freelancers, your costs can go up. So I would set a budget of somewhere between $50 to $100, maybe $150 max, to help you with cover design and formatting. Finally, I don't want this to be another flat and boring self-publishing tutorial. I'm going to give you some insights to help you sell more books. For example, I'm going to walk you through my search engine optimization strategy. It will help you to get on page 1 of Amazon results, and that will help you to boost your sales. Also, I'll talk about other insights that I often use when preparing my paperbacks. If you're new to self-publishing, maybe you haven't heard of CreateSpace, but if you've been around the block a few times or for a few years, you probably would have heard of it. It was founded in 2000 and acquired by Amazon in 2005, but as of 2018, Amazon has phased out the company. They now direct folks to Kindle Direct Publishing to publish their paperbacks. We have arrived at Kindle Direct Publishing, or KDP for short. Here is the home page. As you can see here, a note about CreateSpace is moving. CreateSpace has essentially moved, so perhaps they're just cleaning up or in the final phases of migrating the platform fully to KDP. If you want to start with an ebook or paperback, here's where you would do so. For this tutorial, I'm going to focus on and show you what I've done through my book, WordPress Plugins. And you can see here I've published an ebook and paperback. I haven't published an audiobook for this book because it's very bullet pointish, if you will. It's not a book that I think would sound good as an audiobook or read well. And so I've just kept it with these two items here. So the first thing I want to do is show you something with my ebook. When you self-publish an ebook on KDP, Amazon is still quite flexible in allowing authors to change and update information such as the book title, series, edition number, author, and so on. So you have a lot of flexibility here, and I'm pointing this out because you're not going to have the same flexibility with your paperback. I'm now in the paperback interface of my book, WordPress Plugins. There's 3 tabs here, and we'll go through each of them. Like I just mentioned, you see here it's grayed out, so you don't have the same flexibility to update and change information, for example, your book title, edition number, author, and so on. So you do want to focus on getting this right from the start. If you don't get it right, no problem. You can always unpublish the book and start over, but it's something I did want to call out. A lot of these items and input fields are pretty self-explanatory. Amazon does a good job of explaining what is required. They typically provide a link to learn more, which you can click on and then get a better understanding of what is being asked of you. So for language, you simply choose the primary language that your book is written in. And then for book title, you have here the book title, subtitle, series, edition number, and the author of your book. There's also an area to add contributors such as an editor, an illustrator, narrator, and so on, and you do that in this area. For your book's description, I recommend drafting it in Microsoft Word, Google Docs, or another type of Word document software. Take a look at it, make sure you like it, Even use a tool like Grammarly to check for spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Then once you're happy with it, copy and paste it here. You can expand this area by dragging down the corner so you can get a full look of how your description looks. KDP does support HTML markup. That's why you see here I'm using tags like H2 and italics. You can pop over to this page, which I'll link to in the description section, and this outlines or describes all the different HTML tags that KDP supports. HTML tags are a great way to spruce up your description. For publishing rights, you'll choose the appropriate selection here, so either you own the copyright and hold the necessary publishing rights, or the work that you're submitting is in the public domain. Choosing the right keywords for your book is a critical activity. I think a lot of authors underrate this area, but it's very important to get right. Choosing the right keywords will help your book to show up where you want it to show up. It will help you to get on the first page of results. It will increase the visibility of your book, which can potentially lead to more sales. The idea with keywords is to input keywords that relate to your book. So in this example, what I'm hoping is somebody visits Amazon, they type in website design for beginners 2019, and that my book shows up on page 1 with the other results. That's not always going to happen because there's a lot of competition on Amazon. Amazon also has its own algorithm and is looking to give the best results to that user, in which case they may say Chad's book doesn't qualify for or as a best result. But again, the goal is just to choose relatable keywords to try to have your book show up with the keywords that you specify. To show you how this works, you see here I have WordPress for Dummies. So if someone came here, search for books, WordPress for Dummies, as you scroll down, my book will eventually appear. And this is what I was referring to in terms of competition. So I'm not #1. I don't expect to be #1. There's other books here that by their title alone relate more to this search query. If you see here for ebooks or the Kindle store, again, I'm on page 1, which is where I want to be. You might be wondering how to find the right keywords. The first method that I use is to type in a keyword or idea and to see what's kind of going on here and choose the terms or keywords that I think best reflect and relate to my book. The second method is to choose other book titles, and what I'd recommend that you do here is don't go after older books, so a book from 2015 for example. These books have already been spoken for in the Amazon algorithm. What you want to do is find newer books that are fresher and maybe don't have as much links or ties to them, and go to Coming Soon, for example, see which books are upcoming, choose titles that relate to your books, and use those as keywords. Another option is to use Google Keyword Planner. That will show you what folks are searching for on Google. You'll also get some insights regarding estimated volumes, and you can choose keywords from there. The last thing I'll say about keywords is you have a total of 14 spaces, 7 here for your paperback, 7 for your ebook. I believe the character count goes up to 50, and so you want to create unique keywords for each format of your book. Don't duplicate because you're only hurting yourself. The more original you are in your keywords is the more you can spread yourself out through Amazon. Categories is fairly straightforward. So you'll go in here, choose the categories that best relate to your book. What some folks do is they choose less popular categories so that when their books sell, they can rank higher. If you want to go with that strategy, by all means, but I really think you should focus on choosing the categories that are appropriate for your book. Lastly, on this tab, you have adult content. So you'll either check no or check yes, and then save and continue. The paperback content tab starts with print ISBN. That stands for International Standard Book Number. That's this number here. Amazon issues them for free, which is what I often choose. If for some reason you want to go buy one and use your own, or you're with a publisher and they've assigned you one, you would check here and input that number. For publication date, it says here, enter the date on which your book was first published. Leave blank if you are publishing your book for the first time. For printing options, you do want to get an understanding of what's going on here. So, for example, you have black and white interior on white paper, color interior with white paper. I can't tell you what to do here. You need to make that decision for yourself. I typically just do, as you can see, black and white interior with cream paper. Once you go ahead and choose your settings, some of these will not give you the chance to update. So you cannot change your interior paper type after your book has been published. Same thing with trim size, which makes sense. Looks like you have the option to change bleed settings and your paperback cover finish. For your manuscript, you have several options. Amazon recommends using a PDF file. You can also use a Word document, HTML or RTF. It's really up to you. As you can see, I often use PDF. You can learn more about manuscripts and formatting if you click here. Amazon's also very helpful because they allow you to download a KDP template. This will make the process a lot easier. So I recommend clicking here. You'll arrive at this page and Amazon has a lot of resources about prepare, publish, and promote, paperback interior design. They have videos, so they also have tutorials. And all these sections here will only help you to create the professional book that you want to offer your readers. For your book cover, you'll upload it here. Amazon only accepts print-ready PDFs. You can use the cover creator, but I don't recommend doing so unless you want your book to have a very generic looking cover that probably will only hurt sales. So once again, you want to create a unique cover for your book. If you're not a designer, you can hire a freelancer. Here's where you're going to preview your book. This is actually a really handy and cool tool. So let's take a look at it. The goal here is to do a quality check of your book. What I recommend is going through each page just to ensure that everything is within the dotted lines, that it looks good, that it appears as you want it to appear. Once you're happy with your book, you can click on approve and go from there. Amazon does recommend fixes if there are any issues. I know what these issues are, so I'm not going to bother with them. Once again, once I take a look at this and I'm happy with it, I'll click on approve and then go to the next steps. When you arrive at the final tab, you can breathe a sigh of relief because there's not much going on here and you're almost done. Starting with territories, it says select the territories for which you hold distribution rights. If it's your book, you'll often just leave it as is with all territories, worldwide rights. The pricing and royalties section will allow you to play with different pricing ideas. You can expand this section to see what will occur in other marketplaces that you'll appear on. So if I'm thinking about pricing my book at $6.99, I'll get a 60% royalty. The printing cost will be $241, and my end royalty from each sale of my book will be $178. If I look at the Italian market, it's in euros, and then the same idea. The one thing I will say about pricing strategy is you got to think bigger than yourself. There are thousands upon thousands of authors selling books worldwide, and what I see a lot of folks do is put a high number here and never end up selling any books or just a few books. My strategy is to go with a low price to attract a decent royalty. I can always increase this price if I see that my books are selling well, but I think your best bet is to go with a low price or a fair price, see how that plays in the market, and then decide whether to increase your price or even slightly decrease your price to attract more sales. The last item to review is Amazon's terms and conditions. They're pretty straightforward. They just give you a quick blurb here, but basically you're going to then hit publish your paperback book, and it will take up to 72 hours for their team to review it. If you want to request a proof copy of your book, you can do so here, and you can also learn more. After you hit submit, you should see a pop-up like this. If you want to provide feedback, you can click here. Otherwise, this information we've already gone through, so it can take up to 72 hours and so on. When your book is in review, you won't be able to make any changes. You'll be able to do so again once your book has been approved